Hey guys, I'm Dov, and today I'm back with more Total War Warhammer 2 online action. And today we're back with the Warriors of Chaos. I'm going to be taking on the Dark Elves. So yeah, this is actually game 2 between myself and Janet on occasion for the battle for third place in Shadow's YouTuber Spring Tournament, which is drawing to a close here. Janet had won the first game with Vampires versus Skaven. Now we're taking Chaos versus the Dark Elves. We've got 2 units of Marauder Horsemen with throwing axes, 1 unit with javelins, 2 units of Chaos Knights with lances, 2 units of Sword and Board Chosen, and 4 units of Marauders with Sarthrel the Everwatcher, who's got Searing Doom and Plague of Rust, as well as Metal Shifting. In terms of the Dark Elves, we've got a front line of Dread Spears, 4 Witch Elves, 3 Shades with Morathi up in the air. We've also got 2 units of Cold One Knights hidden in the woods over here. So yeah, first things first, I'm going to use these cheaper Marauder Horsemen to do some scouting in this woods, just in case there's something spooky hidden there. Didn't exactly mean to start chucking axes at the Dread Spears, as that's a little bit of a waste, but yeah, we've also got a unit of Dragon Ogres to help protect Sarthrel, and I figured the Plague of Rust and Searing Doom would be good, just because Witch Elves and Dark Elves tend to bring some other low armor units as well, Dark Shards, Shades, things like that, so the Searing Doom would be good there. If they do bring high armor, then we've got the Plague of Rust to help tear the armor away, then allow these Chosen and Chaos Marauders, who don't have armor piercing, to do more damage. You can see over here on the far side, we're kiting out these Cold One Knights pretty effectively here with the Tomahawks. They are getting some nice damage done. I was hoping to enrage these guys, but Janet pulling them back, and both of our main lines just kind of refusing to engage at this point. We're kind of both trying to win this mobile engagement here, so since I have greater numbers, we're going to push the advantage a little bit. You can see Chaos Knights up here ways. The other unit is actually hidden in the woods over here. So yeah, nasty volley from those Shades there, as well as a Melkos Mystifying Miasma, just going to be tearing apart that unit of Horsemen in pretty much a single volley. That being said, we have been able to return some nice fire on these Cold One Knights and actually taking down another unit model there, so 5 unit models overall for a unit that already has a relatively low model count, so that's pretty good. Pretty good trade from me. And yeah, at this point, both our front lines are going to be moving to engage. I'm pretty confident in the Marauders' ability to beat the Dread Spears. The Witch Elves, however, will cut up these Marauders pretty good. That's where these defensive Chosen come in. I brought these guys specifically to be a nice anvil with their 60 melee defense. They also have solid weapon strength, 12 AP damage per swing. They're going to be a nice anvil to the hammer of the Chaos Knights, who are currently moving up. The Marauder Horsemen also taking a nasty volley there, moving the axes out and around to the side here to try and get a sneaky attack maybe in the rear, just kind of pressure Janet into potentially making a mistake. Big Bird going to be charging straight up the front line. He doesn't care about your charge defense, so yeah, he's going to get straight in here, and because the Witch Elves don't immediately cause enrage now, instead they cause enrage only when a unit has been damaged. The Searing Doom going to come down here, do some damage to the Shades a little bit. Wasn't the best, but over time, if you keep casting that spell, can do some good damage. It's also going to proc that Metal Shifting map-wide for all my units, giving them a little bit of extra weapon strength. And yeah, Soul Stealer going down the front line, going to be really good against the Dragon Ogre. Sarthrel has magic resistance, but meanwhile you can see Chaos Knights trying to push through this gap here, but they do get intercepted by the Cold One Knights here and these Witch Elves as well, so they're going to get enraged and surrounded by these armor-piercing anti-large Cold One Knights. Granted, we did get some damage done on the Cold One Knights, and we're pulling up with the throwing axes in support, so we should be able to at least take down 1 unit of Cold One Knights here, but still, losing that very high-value unit in those Chaos Knights with Lance is pretty rough. You can see Power of Darkness going down on these Dread Spears. Morathi trying to pull up some additional Winds of Magic. We're going to be charging in with the Searing Doom, and Big Bird himself cinematically pushing straight through his own spell. And yeah, it is going to be enough to tear out away those Dread Spears. Witch Elves also took some solid damage there. Meanwhile, a lot of the Marauders starting to be routed off, but we did bring in the Chosen here, and despite the fact that they're enraged, that just means they're going to get in here and give these Witch Elves a business in some brutal and bloody combat here in the pits. Dragon Ogres are getting relatively low and being routed off, but Big Bird pushing through to the second line, trying to pressure these Shades a little bit so they're not free to fire, and here come the Chaos Knights with lances. Going to get a brutal downhill charge straight into these exposed Shades, so very, very nicely done there. They're going to get hit by Melkos Mystifying Miasma, and Janet on occasion doing a good job responding with the Cold One Knights. Unfortunately, they do get terrified away, but the Chaos Knights with lances are starting to take some damage. Granted, they did a ton of work just in that single charge, almost got half an XP Chevron, and are quickly racking up the kills. Very nice Doom Bolt comes down, and the Chaos Knights unfortunately now are enraged by the Witch Elves in this pocket. You can see the rest of the Dark Elf infantry kind of collapsing in here. Only this pocket of my infantry holding out, routing off that Witch Elves with the help of Big Bird, of course. We do still have plenty of Marauder Horsemen with throwing axes, though. Soul Stealer coming down, draining away this pocket, and suddenly these Chaos Knights, who had initially gotten in a really good charge and almost picked up an XP chevron, are going to get just completely decimated now by the rallied Shades. There's another healthy-ish unit of Cold One Knights here as well, so we're going to pull Big Bird back and try and get another timing push ready. We still have some Chaos Knights with lances rallying here, so we're going to start bringing them up, and seeing how there's these Cold One Knights here, we're going to go ahead and just get a straight-up charge. These Cold One Knights very tattered, losing a couple of the unit models along the way to those throwing axes. You can see Big Bird just trying to stabilize that center pocket a little bit. We've got some infantry pushing through, rallied Dragon Ogres and Marauders, and of course the Chosen also pushing through. But yeah, at this point there's just these two lonely knights, and they get gibbed on a single charge there from those Chaos Knights, who are then going to push through. At this point there's quite a few Witch Elves left, but likewise Chosen, 42 unit models here, and let's see, the other unit, not sure where they got off to. They must have been routed off. Yeah, I'm not sure. But yeah, another really nice bombardment coming from Sarthrail, who at this point is going to actually get enraged. But thankfully we've managed to do enough to the Witch Elves to break their leadership, so they get terrified. Once they lose that frenzy, they are weak to terror. Chaos Knight's going to get a very Last Samurai style charge here, and then immediately followed up by the Marauders, again, just to pin down the Shades. Even though Shades are pretty good in melee, and they'll probably beat the Marauders in the end of the day, we're just trying to fix them in place so that we get the Alpha Strike going in. The rallied Dragon Ogres and Big Bird also compromising this pocket here, collapsing the pocket, as they say in American football. And yeah, Marathi's going to be caught out all of a sudden because these Shades are super tattered. There's no more infantry or Cold One Knights to support her in this pocket, so we're going to get Marathi surrounded by Marauder Horsemen. She's got the armor-piercing anti-large of the Dragon Ogres as well, and Big Bird himself, of course, does quite a bit of damage, 440 weapon strength, and he does have very strong melee attack. It's currently being debuffed by Marathi, but even still, should be able to do some good damage, and that Doom Bolt just narrowly missing there. Yeah, Marathi's not able to get back up in the air because of the Marauder Horsemen, and that allows the Dragon Ogres and Big Bird to get some attacks. Another bombardment coming down, that one not doing quite as much damage against the Dark Elves. Some Chaos Marauders and Chosen holding out there, but they're going to get an Alpha Strike from the Cold One Dread Knights and more. But yeah, at this point it's all about Big Bird and Marathi fighting it out in this pocket. Not exactly a fair fight from Marathi's perspective, as she's completely surrounded by Marauders and everything, and is going to get terrified away. You can see immediately once that happens, the balance of power starts to shift in my favor, and at this point we've more or less won the battle. I mean, it is still pretty dangerous. There's plenty of Shades around, and Marathi is going to be able to squeak back up in the air, potentially get another Soul Stealer and heal herself back up. So while the balance of power is pretty far in my favor at this point, I'm going to have to be careful not to lose things, let things get too far out of control. But Big Bird with his missile resistance should be able to weather the fire of these Shades and himself terrify away most of the rest of the army. But you can see the balance of power did start to creep back there a little bit, but once more of these units get terrified and rout off, and it's going to be GG for the Dark Elves. Shades, though, doing a great job getting in here despite the fear and terror and the terrible circumstances. They're going to keep firing away. Great thing about Big Bird is his missile resistance, and as Marathi charges down into these Marauders, Big Bird's going to set his sights on her, and oh man, the KFC Lord's coming. He's coming for you, Marathi. Going to get a brutal charge in here. That should be enough to finish off Marathi's leadership, and likewise the leadership of the Dark Elf army here. You can see she takes a couple of nasty hits, and suddenly Marathi is on the move. Going to be getting back up in the air and probably routed off. Not quite, but we're going to go ahead and toss a big bombardment down just to cover this entire area of effect. It actually doesn't end up hitting much, but yeah. At this point we just need to collapse these last few units of Dread Spears and Shades and so on, and we are doing so with the rallied Chaos Marauders and the Chosen and so on. And yeah, it's going to be victory for Chaos. So a fun battle, very well played to Janet on occasion. Hope you guys enjoyed watching. So yeah, man, after that first game, which was super close at the end, this was another one that was just down to the wire. Both of us made some mistakes and some good plays. So yeah, very well played to Janet. Hope you guys enjoyed watching. Man, Big Bird himself racking up 117, just being a troll, running around that front line, dropping the Terror and the Searing Doom wherever needed. Chosen really pushed through the front line. One of them, 81 kills, pretty solid. You can see the one, the Chaos Knight that got caught out, only 9 kills, pretty underwhelming. But the other one, in a single charge, more or less, got 60 kills, which is just amazing. It's really, really good. The Marauders, of course, with throwing axes, did their work. 65 kills in the XP Chevron, 52 there. They did some really nice work against these Cold One Knights, one of which, 81 kills in the XP Chevron. Definitely got some good work done. Witch Elves on the front line cut up the Marauders pretty well, but then they struggled against the high armor of the Chosen, and Big Bird, of course, does magic damage, so he'll circumvent the physical resistance that the Witch Elves rely on as their primary mitigation. They do have okay-ish melee defense, but they have pretty much 0 armor, so they rely on that physical resistance, and magic attack units like Sarthrel, especially with his massive splash attacks, can do a lot of damage. And likewise, Searing Doom is another spell that's really good against Witch Elves, because it's cheap, you can spam it, and it does great damage against low armor units. And yeah, overall, Shades did some good work. The Dread Spears, you know, they did some work as well. Marathi at 69 kills herself is a force of nature, definitely. But at the end of the day, Warriors of Chaos taking it home. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you do like this kind of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button, so every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. And yeah, thanks for your support, and we'll see you next time.